Hi. Wow. How is everyone today? Excellent. Good. First off, band, thank you. I think if Karen Drucker heard, is that a Fender? Are you playing a Strat? No? Kind of sounds like one. Okay, man, I think if Karen Drucker heard that version, she'd be like, yeah, let's go, rock and roll. And Jason, that voice, I was like, you should be on radio, podcast, like any of those. You'd be ringing it up. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for reading that. So Unity Vancouver Island, if you're not aware, we have 3 centers, Victoria, Nanaimo, and Comox Valley. You might know Reverend Vicky up in Comox Valley. And around COVID, shortly after, we joined all 3 centers together. And so we have, as of this year, we now have 3 Sunday services in all 3 centers happening on Sundays. And a couple of years ago, I became the senior minister there. And it's a lot of work, I will tell you. And it's awesome. It's awesome work. Now, I don't have to be in all 3 centers at the same time, thankfully, because I would not know how to do that yet. Yes. No, it's been great fun. And the reason I'm coming through Calgary, for those that don't know, is I'm actually on my motorcycle. So I rode to Toronto to see my favorite band in the world, Rush, because that's what a true Rush fan would do, is ride from Vancouver Island to Toronto. And then I thought, while I'm on the road, I might as well, book some engagements for myself. One is so that I love speaking to new audiences. I mean, to be in new communities and meet new people. It keeps it real for me. It's kind of training and development as well, to be with people of different communities and how they do things, how they do Unity. It's all very different. So I was able to speak in Minneapolis, in Detroit, and London, Ontario, and then here today as well. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I think your community here, your leadership team is doing a fantastic job. So thank you. Yeah. And Bob, thank you for your sofa last night. Yeah, it was amazing. Okay, so the motorcycle and our talk title, Our Will is Our Source. And I also want to acknowledge that somewhere in here, I'm going to bring in the appreciating the process of transformation, which I think is your theme for the month. And we will also affirm I relax into and enjoy the process of transformation. So I like to sort of take stories from my own life, because isn't that the best way that we can understand what's going on in our world, is to speak from our truth. And I can't really speak for what other people experience, as you know that, because I don't know what they experience. I only know what I experience. So on this journey with the motorcycle, I had this great opportunity to get real with myself and to really figure out the power of will and how that shows up. And so I'll read from Charles Fillmore, who is one of our co-founders here at Unity. He defined will as the executive faculty of the mind. It is the directive power that converts choices into physical reality. And so we might think that will is something that we have to use force sense, right? Like it sounds like we should be willing ourselves to do something. But as the executive function, Fillmore actually has us think of it differently. Will is actually the power to achieve, but through the process of spiritual relaxation. It's actually through the process of letting go and allowing ourselves to be fully present that our will to do something will actually manifest in the manner in which we would like it to, as opposed to trying to forcefully will ourselves into something. So let me just ask here, has anybody ever tried to forcefully will somebody else to be different than the way they are? Yeah. And how has that worked out? Not well. right? And it might even go the same with us when we try to willfully force ourselves to do something that we're really not aligned with or really isn't our truth. It tends to not work out so well for us. We try to, in our carnal mind, convince ourselves that that's what we want to do, but maybe down here in our, that wisdom that we have down here that says, I don't really know if this is the right thing for me. But then we kind of push that away, and our little conscious thinking brain up here tries to take over, and we end up doing something that we go around the block and come back to right where we were and say to ourselves, I should have listened to that voice, right? So will is actually the ability to have ourselves flow into life, but in a way that we're spiritually relaxed. Okay, so here's my example of this. So as I was riding to Toronto, I like to not use highways. I like to use side roads. So I set my map for no highways, no tolls, and then you get to ride through towns and you get a much more enjoyable experience of it, in my opinion, rather than being on a freeway with lots of trucks and lots of traffic and you miss everything. And so I was actually moving through Canada and the US back and forth. So I crossed the border, I think 3 or 4 times on this trip. And I was leaving Winnipeg and I had set my map for no highways, and I'm now headed to Minneapolis because I had to be in Minneapolis on the Saturday night and do the Sunday service. And so I left Winnipeg about 5 o'clock, 5:15, somewhere in there, and I get to the border that Google had sent me to, and guess what? The border was closed because it's not the main border, it's like a little side border, because I was on the side roads, but I didn't think of that. So it's like 7:15, and I don't like to ride at night, and I have a campground on the other side of the border that I'm aiming for, but I can't get to it. So I'm like, oh no, this isn't really good. I map it out. Where is the 24-hour border crossing? Because I'm thinking I rode literally south right from Winnipeg. Like I would think that would be it, but it's not. It's actually southeast of Winnipeg. So it shows me that I have about 40 kilometers or so to go to get to that border. And I'm like, oh, it's 7:15 at night. Okay, well, the road is 2 kilometers that I get to turn on and head that direction. Maybe this will work out okay. So I start towards that road. It's 2 kilometers away. I get to it. I turn left. And guess what? It's a gravel road. Because that's what happens on the prairies. You have these gravel roads everywhere. I'm not used to that on Vancouver Island. So I'm thinking, I do have a dual sport motorcycle. It's meant for on-road and off-road. It's got 70/30 tires. I will do this. But I've only been riding a motorcycle for 4.5 years. I'm not like raised on dirt bikes or anything. So I'm not feeling good about this going into it. And it says it's 10 kilometers. I can do 10 kilometers, I'm pretty sure. So I start down the gravel road. Now, it's not well packed, as you can imagine. So the bike is kind of swimming a little bit. And I'm realizing that I'm tensing up, right? And I'm starting to grip harder, and the sweat is starting. Because with me on my motorcycle and all my gear, it's about 900 pounds. So it wants to just go into the gravel and do whatever it's going to do. And again, I don't have this experience. So I realize the more I grip, the worse it gets. And the more it gets jiggly and uncertain. So I'm trying to relax myself. I'm trying to use this executive function of will to will myself into relaxation. If I could just chill out now, it will be fine. So I come to the end of the 10 kilometers, but guess what? It's just a crossroad. And on the other side is 15 more kilometers of gravel road. Anyhow, I managed to do this. And I realized that what was actually working in my favor is that as I willed myself, now not this kind of will, but a willingness to let go, a willingness to be with what is actually happening and not go into the space of, what if I crash? What if I go down? Will I be able to lift the bike up? I'm on a gravel road in the middle of Manitoba somewhere where there's nobody Like nobody's going to come and save me. So if I go down, I don't even know what that's going to look like. So these are all the thoughts that want to run through my brain. And yet I'm trying to imagine myself being in a calm state and in a place of, this is good. I get to do this. Is anybody here familiar with Hebrews 2? It's a scripture in the Bible. I highly doubt it, but anyhow, anybody familiar with that? I'm going to read it to you because this is something that I've used many times in my life to actually remind myself that I get to do this. So it goes something like this. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, so a great cloud of witnesses. So this would be a cloud of witnesses that people get to witness this experience with me. Now I get to share it. Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us. So we can think of the weight of my fear, my concerns, the sin. You can think of sin as missing the mark, right? Of being on the, you might call it the left side of the brain, right? Where the little mind chatter will, right? So we actually want to let that go. We want to put that aside and not be stuck in it. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us. So I could look at it like, hey, this is what I've set before myself. I'm on this journey. This is something I want to do with my life and experience. And if I just let go and allow it to unfold, you can think of it as in this moment, I'm actually transforming myself and my experience of what my brain wants to do versus my willingness to be in this experience. And here's the piece that I really love. Looking on to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. So you got to think of this like he took this on as a joy set before him. Could have easily been this horrible thing I'm experiencing or I'm about to experience. I don't want to do this. This is troubling. Has anybody had these moments in their life where you're facing something that doesn't feel very good, right? And we want to fight against it. We don't want to absorb it. We don't want to be in it. But yet we can actually look to that example because in Unity we see Jesus as the great example, not the exception. So we too can experience these things. And here is an example where this author of Hebrews is writing that Jesus' approach was actually the great joy set before him. So in that moment, when I'm tightening up and thinking, this was bad planning on my part, I should have done better, blah, 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 I could actually experience this as, this is joyful for me. I'm going to become a better rider because of this. Like when this is done, I'm going to be like, man, I can handle gravel roads with my motorcycle, no problem. Right? That's the joy that I get to experience versus the other side, which is that I'm experiencing this thing. I don't want to. I got to fight it. I got to dig in somehow. Do you know what I mean? When life is like that, I sometimes think of it as life is lifing me right now, right? It's just coming at me and I'm trying to fend it off as opposed to leaning into the experience, as opposed to embracing the opportunity that's before me, not run away from it, but to actually embrace it. And the writer finishes off with this, so before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. So let me metaphysically unfold that. So that you can think of the right hand as the right side of our brain, the creative, the loving, the side of where we want to be spiritually raising ourselves up, transforming our lives or transcending the experience versus stuck on the left side, meaning in biblical scripture, you can think of the left side as the carnal mind, the shame, the fear, the nattering, the ego, if you want to call it that part of us that wants to cower away and try to solve everything through the outside experience versus doing what? Going inside. And so believe it or not, all of this was playing out in my mind on my motorcycle in moments. Though that's the thing, is I was able to draw on that experience in moments. I was in the moment going, there's two ways this could go. One is I can continue to grip and sweat and freak out, or I could actually let go and relax myself and allow the bike to do what it needs to do and be okay with it and just adjust my speed as necessary. Well, I'm happy to say I made it to the end of the next 15 kilometers. We didn't fall down, the bike and I. We stayed upright, two wheels up, two wheels on the ground, and me up. And I made it to the border. Unfortunately, there was quite a border wait. So by the time I did get to my campsite, it was 9:30, and the mosquitoes in Minnesota lake area, let me tell you, I set up my tent in 12 minutes. I was tired and exhausted, but it was like, I must get the. So again, I was using will to experience this moment and to allow myself to relax, to just be, okay, here's what I need to do. Go and step into the action that was necessary. And I had a wonderful night's sleep, and I made it all the way there, all the way back. But I'm a better rider now in my mind for that experience. I now know I can manage that when it's put before me. So you want to think of this as will works not as force, but as a calming realization of this is what I need to do. And it's that executive ability to calm ourselves and release and move into the experience. That's how we want to use the spiritual power of will. Is everybody here familiar with the 12 powers of unity? Yeah? Right? Okay, good. So whenever we think of the 12 powers, we want to take it from the perspective of not how does this show up out there, but how does this show up in here? And how can I spiritually lean into this? One of the great powers is love, of course. And so we're not, if we're out looking for love out there all the time, has anybody ever tried to make others love you and want to feel the love by out there? It doesn't, from my experience, it doesn't go so well. So I've kind of committed myself to loving myself so much that I can just give it away. And then I don't need it from anybody else. Right? We're not actually looking for it for somebody else because we have it. We have all we need right here, and then we can just give the love and let other people experience that. And then life just kind of works. I'm going to go off on a tangent here a little bit, but even yesterday, I was Shaunavon, Saskatchewan. Has anybody been to Shaunavon, Saskatchewan? Yeah, that is an amazing town. They have they bring in mural artists every year and paint the sides of buildings. Like, it's one of the most artistic towns I've ever experienced in my life. I think it was the highlight, other than Rush and being with you, might have been the highlight of my trip so far. But I left there yesterday and I thought, I'll get gas later. I didn't run out, but I got to the town that I thought would have gas, and they didn't have a gas station. And so I'm on my map on the side of the road trying to figure out, I've got about 30 Ks left. Where am I going? And guess what? A truck towing a horse, the guy stops right there on the road, on the highway, rolls down his window. He's like, hey, do you need some help with anything? Can I help you out with something? And so I told him what the story was. And he said, this is the way you need to go. So I had to overshoot my right turn by about 15 Ks to get to gas and then come back 15 kilometers. But my point is that I find that the more that I don't look for love and don't look for things from other people, the more actually shows up. People just seem to want to give when you're not begging for it, if you know what I mean. Right? When you can just relax and stay within yourself, people want to share, has been at least my experience in all of this. So I want to bring you to something that helps me a lot when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling anxious. I know none of you experience stress or anxiousness, but I'll just share something that works for me. Are you familiar with the PBS, the Public Broadcasting Service? Yeah, right. So I remember as a kid, like the Electric Company with Morgan Freeman was on there, and Sesame Street, and Carl Sagan's Cosmos. Monty Python was maybe my favorite show on there, Monty Python's Flying Circus. So that was PBS, the Public Broadcasting Service, but I've reframed PBS. So now you can think of it this way. Anytime you're feeling stressful, you're feeling like this is an anxious moment, I need something, you can take a PBS. It's a pause, breathe, soften. That's it. So you can just, in that moment, you can just go, wait, life is life at me right now. Take a pause. I'm going to take a pause right now. I'm just going to take a breath. I'm just going to soften into this moment. And nobody needs to know you're doing it. You can do it all within a moment's notice to yourself. Anytime, any place, you can have a PBS. So let's just try that together right now. So just in this very moment, we're just going to take a pause, take a nice breath in, and as you exhale, just soften. Okay, I got this. And then you can move forward and just allow whatever's happening to be happening without us getting all twisted in a knot over it. Thank you. Namaste.